Clay, I feel like you don't need an introduction, but I am going to introduce you because
Okay.
everyone should read all of your books. So, you've written books such as Ghost Eaters, What Kind of Mother, The Remaking, Stay on the Line, Kill Your Darling, which I really love. And your
Hmm.
newest novel, Wake Up and Open Your Eyes, is a relentless social horror novel about a family on the run from a demonic possession epidemic that spreads through media.
That sounds like such a good book. Why didn't I write that book?
Surprise, you did, and we're about to talk about it. So I am glad you're joining us. I think this might be one of our most anticipated meetings. Like everyone's been talking about it. I can't escape the buzz about this book on social media. Like everyone's fallen in love with it. Is that surprising to hear? You seem surprised by this.
I'm just, I mean, like, if I'm being completely honest, probably more with myself. Like, I just don't, I exist. It's what you were saying before we started, where we all kind of live in our bubbles. And my bubble is very, uh, I want to believe everything you just said. And I will like in that kind of like Inception, I'm just going to be Leonardo DiCaprio, just kind of living in blissful ignorance of like, everybody loves this book. But it's like, I don't know, like it's a tough one. Like it is hard to feel good about this book. So when you talk about like buzz and excitement, like I genuinely want to be like, yes, okay, yeah, yeah. But it's such a weird echo chamber for me. So I just like chew my nails. I'm gonna chew my nails for the release of this one.
I was going to ask, like, how long are you going to feel this way for? Because I mean, we're coming up on a month of the book being out tomorrow.
Oh God. Yeah, that's wild.
It's
I was gonna
crazy.
say like it's only been out for like 2 weeks, but no, that's true. Um, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Uh I don't know. I'm coming to you with no answers because like I like genuinely like I think there's gonna be like a certain level of just not knowing with this one. Um like with a lot of the other books that you talk about, like they kind of like settle into their like, oh, that's what the world thinks. But this one I think is just gonna be weirdly um I'm just gonna be on kind of like pins and needles with it forever, which means I'm going to die by 53.
Oh, wow. Wow. Well,
Calling it.
you should take that back. That's not true. Do you think that the political climate right now is adding to that kind of
Well,
sense of stress you're feeling?
I mean, it is adding to my stress, but that is more of a self-imposed stress. Like I'll be frank and say that the book at this point hasn't rippled far enough out to people who don't want to read it. Like at this point, like it's snugly within the realm of the people who like hear about it and are like, "Oh, I want to read that," you know? And I think for the most part, my fear, and I should have been aware of this well before releasing the book, but like there's that feeling of like I think there's certain kind of flashpoints or kind of like films, books, like like things that when like someone like catches wind of them and wants to make a point of this, like of it, like this is something that I feel like needs to be debated or like we're gonna take this to task. And not specifically thinking of right or left, but like I think it's like a general like certain things kind of become cause celebs of uh like focus. Like we're gonna focus on this, and we're gonna either take it down or be critical of it. Uh, I haven't gotten that point, which is nice. And I think maybe there's a part of me that's like afraid of that, and but also like it's crass, but to also acknowledge that that's kind of like a book like this kind of needs to go in that direction, maybe. Like that's like kind of where the book is supposed to go. And to be really, really crass, like that's kind of that would be a testament of the book's success, maybe. That it like if it ripples out beyond the comfort zone and enters into the not so comfortable zone, I will be really nervous about that. But I think that that's necessary, or not even necessary. Uh, you know, what's the word that I'm looking for? Controversy gets, eyeballs, So, but
Yeah.
we're not there yet. We're in the friendly range.
I mean, to be fair, though, you still have time to get there. I mean, it has been
Oh,
out for a month, but
I know.
you have plenty of time.
I mean, like if there is someone who's like who if like all it's gonna take is just someone to be like, I don't like this, and I'm gonna like blast it, and then it becomes like I'm playing out this fantasy in my head of like, getting doxxed or getting like trolled or getting like, like all of that stuff is stuff that like I'm doing this hypothetical in my mind, and like that's the scary stuff, but that's
Yeah.
also the kind of like oh we like the it's out there now.
Do you want one of us to pose as an angry reviewer?
No,
No.
no, no, thank
Okay.
you.
I
No,
just wanted to offer.
you guys are so nice. Oh no, Gene.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. If you cosplay as an angry person.
I mean, I
No.
feel like everybody like there's always that like oh let's like create like do a protest like and like I don't know, I'm not asking for anything. It's like but it is a weird like I don't know. It's the same stuff that we were talking about with Josh before, where it's like a book ripples. Like a book get it like a book is like a rock that you toss in the pond, and like sometimes that ripple effect is like it's a small one or it's a big one or maybe it's somewhere in between. And like right now, um, the book is like it's rippling, and I don't know if this is true, but I think it is by far well. I think it is the most successful thing that I have put out there in terms of like sales, which is nice. That's the direction you want to go in.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I'm sorry. I feel like I'm on a tangent, and I don't even
No,
know.
no, you're
I'm like
fine.
I'm a dog chasing my tail.
No, you're not at all. Did you always plan for the book to come out though in January?
No,
Oh,
no. Okay. So this book was supposed to come out in October of 2024.
wow.
And I was so excited about that because it was before the election and it was like, we get to take part in the cultural conversation that is the world right now. Like this is all happening right now. And for a good portion of a year, like that was the plan. October 2024. And in the summer, like late spring, early summer, my editor got back to me and they're like, "So the book's gonna come out in January." And I was, I was pretty livid. I was polite, but I was definitely like, "No!" Like I was like, and I like did the impassioned kind of like like pitch of like why the book needed to come out before the election, and so much of it was like under the hope an optimistic pretense of where we would be after the election would be a very different world. And that is my personal political affinity. Like that's where I am on the political spectrum. Like I had hoped personally that things would be different. The
Yeah.
outcome would be different. And it wasn't. And um so and this is so crass. I'm trying to be as honest and ugly as possible. Forgive me, but it's like, you know, when it was like unavoidable that that they were going to put the book out in January, no matter how much I begged and kind of like said this is why like I was like no one's going to want to read this book in January because it's going to be a like a new dawn, a new day. Everyone's going to be dancing in the streets. We're going to be so happy, and like no one's going to want to read a grody little book about like where we were. Like no one wants to look in the rear view. We want to look out the windshield. And and then November happened, and it was like, oh my, like the initial shock of everything was like, and then and then like certain folk like friends and some of the people at the publisher were like, ha, 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 like, aren't you glad now that the book's coming out in January? And I was and honestly I was like, no, like no, not really. But there is this kind of running like real kind of like cynical jibe joke of like this book now has a better chance, now that we are where we are, and I wish that were not the case.
Well, I think that even if we weren't in the situation that we were in and we were in a better one, I still think that the book would have done well because, you know, Republicans and our right-leaning fellow countrymen would still be doing their usual song and dance and make a lot of noise, maybe even more noise than they are now. And so I
Yeah,
still think it would have been relevant even if things had gone a different way.
yeah, yeah. But I think of like American Rapture, which C.J. Leeds novel was one of my, if not my favorite novels of last year. And it came out at a time where I feel like it could take part in the conversation, and like there was like this sense of like this is this is what's on the horizon if if we're not like, and again, it's not even about like I'm politicizing all of these books, but like it's so funny how I think American Rapture treats the idea of the post-apocalyptic, like the apocalyptic narrative, and gives it heart. I think my book coming out in January after the election, after American Rapture, my book is basically the fallout of American Rapture. It's like American Rapture's the hope, and Wake Up and Open Your Eyes is the poop of it. The the toilet, someone forgot to flush the toilet after reading American Rapture. I don't know. There's like a metaphor in there somewhere. And I'm trying to say American Rapture was brilliant and beautiful. And Wake Up and Open Your Eyes is like taking that idea of beauty and hope and pooping on
I think we have a new marketing campaign for the book there, Clay.
it. Oh my. Is that George?
No, this is Darren.
Darren. Okay. Who are, there are people who are like in time zones that should be in bed. So
Yeah,
I just
George
want to
is
be.
definitely in a time
I
zone
should
that
be
should
in
be
bed.
bed.
Yeah,
Oh my God.
absolutely.
Just
George is a real one though,
I
and he
am.
doesn't miss these.
I'm nothing
God.
if not dedicated.
It's really impressive.
Thank you.
God.
Can I just say I read this book literally during the election. I never sleep, so I pulled an election all-nighter, and I watched and I was reading in between the states coming in. So I just want to let you know that you like properly traumatized me. It was like, ugh.
I mean, yeah. I mean, like I couldn't read it during I was like I was in like a shout, like I was just like I'm not gonna think about any of this, and I was like I'm putting this out there in the world. It's like we contribute to society in this way where it's like we're giving these things to the world, and the world is either going to take them or not. And like for me in my head, like this whole time I've been like I am asking people to willfully imbibe and absorb this, and that feels inappropriate. like like I didn't mean to like traumatize you.
I had
I-
nightmares of Republican zombies breaking into my house at night and like actually woke up sweating and terrified. So thanks for that. Lost night of sleep as well.
I am. Yeah, yeah. But it's like, I mean, I don't know. I'm like trying to do this like whataboutism, where it's like, yes, they're the Republican zombies, but I'm more worried about the baby shark zombies, or the 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 yoga mama zombies, the yoga mama zombie, the yoga mama zomba. Um, like the like I'm jumping in tangents now, forgive me, but like I think that like for me the the lowest hanging fruit is always going to be like talking about Republicans or talking about conservatives, but like what I'm hoping for in the book, because what I'm like witnessing and dreading is this idea that like it's not the kind of stark divide of like left or right or Republican or Democrat anymore, but it's that weird gray area, like that kind of blending of belief systems and like, that it's like I want to be better and have a healthy body and like, I want to be better, do better, feel better, and like have the most altruistic kind of like desire, like like I don't know, like I think that we're past it being like I voted for this person. It's more about like I'm like it's just all googly gray, and that's where it, like those are the zombies that scare me, where it's like, you know they look like you, they talk like you, they watch the same shows as you, they like, you know you're friends with them on Instagram and like, that it's when that happens, it's like that weird photocopy of a photocopy of a photocopy where it just blends and distorts. Like I think that's where it's heading ish. And that's what scares me. Everything scares me. So, but that's one of the things that scares me.
Did you get any pushback from Quirk when you were writing this, or like when you pitched it as your next book? Were they like, this one isn't a good idea?
Um, oddly enough, no. Like I gotta hand it to Quirk. Like they were immensely supportive. And like I always pitched it as like a personal work. I was like, this is something that I'm going through and this is something that I want to talk about. So they really honored that. Um, I would say in terms of like pushback or are you sure you want to do this? It was always dial adjustments. It was always like like uh like it's a very vulgar book, and I'm very aware of that. I'm exceedingly getting more aware of that. And it like to me, um, the there were like oddly enough the sections that have been the most kind of like affecting, I guess, of readers, like those like Quirk had no problem with those moments, but it was oddly like choice details that they were like, this can go. And I was like, oh, I really like I'm this is so crass and I really apologize. And I love this example of like how far like the hill that I was willing to die on, and forgive me, is that in part two, in phase two, there's the character of Caleb, the older brother, the teen brother, who is kind of getting like indoctrinated by way of Twitter. Um, I I was convinced that, when we have our phones and we're like texting or tweeting or DMing, like there's always the ripple of the three dots, the three dots. Um, I I have had this metaphor, this vision in my head that those three rippling dots were in fact the negative space of a phantom phallus, and and I was convinced that like this had to be shared with the rest of the world, and my editor kept taking it out, and I was like aware of it. I was like, my editor keeps cutting out the phantom, like the ghost dicks, and and I was like, I'm gonna put them back in, and then we would do another pass, and they would be out again, and I'd be like, they took the ghost sticks out again, and then I was like, I'm putting them back in, and like it got to a point where we were like, let's have a conversation about this, like why do you, Clay, feel as if you need this in here? And I was like, why do you editors feel like you need something out? And it was the hill that I died on. I was like, I want the ghost sticks. And And they were like, we respect that. We honor your choice. It is your choice, and it is your book. It like they said the thing like it is your book. It is ultimately your call. And so the hill I died on was Ghost Dick.
I feel like if you don't make merch that just has Ghost Dick on it, you're really missing an opportunity here.
It needs to have the 3 dots.
Yeah.
Like a kind of like grayscale of like 3 fluctuating. Because come on, like tell me when you're not texting someone and you see those like those ripples, like they just like they like there's a motion to it, a fluid motion that I don't know about you guys, but like I see that and I'm just saying to myself, something is being emitted, but it's a ghost, so you can't see the actual thing. You just see the effluvia.
Your merch needs to say "Stop fucking with me," and it's the 3 dots like in motion.
Oh my God. Can you imagine? I would probably wear that shirt.
I
I'd
think
wear it.
most of us would.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100% chance. It'd be on
Just
all
us,
my
though.
socials. Yeah.
I would wear it, but when the kids are asleep.
See, that's the benefit of not having kids.
Mm.
I would
You're a
totally
Ghost
wear
Dick
that
shirt.
shirt. Totally wear that shirt.
I'm so sorry. I'm dragging this into the gutter, but that was literally that was the biggest argument we had. No conversations about any of the other stuff. None of it. Can you believe it? They were just like, fine. They were like, yeah, sure, go for
Yeah.
it.
That is surprising to me.
And there's a part of me that's kind of like, why didn't you have my back, guys? Like, where were you? Like, this is out there now, and I'm catching some flack, and it's like, oh, this is what happens. You like put something out there in the world, and I am learning that there are lines in the sand, and some folks won't cross them, and I totally respect that. I totally respect that. This is not the book for
But
that.
you will cross those lines.
I mean, with this book, yeah. But
Yeah.
I like, and this might not be, you guys might not believe me, and I understand that. But I feel, I want to believe that the choices that I made in the book, no matter how grotesque or vulgar, they are there for the reason of showing how vulgar and grotesque demons are. like I I'm a broken record about this, but like if 50 years ago, 50 years after Reagan in The Exorcist violated herself with a crucifix and made her mother watch and said awful things to her 50 years ago, decades ago. And then Evil Dead comes along, and then I mean, like, so much has happened since then. And you want to like look at the country right now. And it's a very jaded view, a very jaundiced view of our culture, and I acknowledge that, but it's one that I kind of have. Like I think that like a demon is going to enter into this world with the sole intent of depravity. Demons to me strike me as not being very careful, mindful, concerned. Like, it's not Airbnb where it's like, oh, we gotta like leave the place looking like the way when we got here. Like it's truly like they are just gonna destroy us in the most wanton, carnal, like it is the like the ultimate kind of like vulgarity, because it's blasphemy. It's blasphemy. And like for me, like I think of blasphemy as being this like, it has to be something so like awful. And I chose to do those things in a book. and now I have to reap the whirlwind.
Is that I mean, is that part of the decision that you made to have, because this book, like the violence in this book starts pretty quick. I mean, I think I was maybe 40 pages in and I texted Anna and was like, holy hell, like this is like really popping off already.
Mhm.
I mean, you don't waste any time. Is that part of the reason? Is that, I mean, this is just how it would be in a kind of possessed world.
I think so. You know, I
Yeah.
mean, if I was possessed, I would love to be possessed by a nice demon who would be like, I'll take care of you. Like, it'll be fine, you know,
Yeah.
little wear and tear, but like, it'll be okay. Like, I just don't like, and, and I'm sorry. It like, for me, it really, like, I know it takes the kind of lust and sexuality out of it, but like, I look at something like, January 6th, the January 6th riots. And then, and like, honestly, that was one of the more, uh, um, like one of the inciting kind of moments of like wanting to write this book, where like watching footage of that and like being like genuinely horrified. I don't think I've watched something recently that has like affected me in the way that the watching, you know, the riots, you know, people kind of storming the Capitol did. Like to me, like that was here was something that was unstoppable and painful and traumatizing, and I just watched it. Like that was horrifying, and I was thinking about writing this book, and I was uh like that feeling of something that is unstoppable and massive, like a just a large swath of humanity that has nothing but compulsion and desire and lust and depraved, like that to me was, yeah, that was, yeah, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to, you know, I've said it a few too many times now, but like I wanted January 6th as if it were directed by Sam Raimi, you know, that like the kinetic energy of someone who can stylize violence, but something that is rooted in our kind of culture, our national culture, consciousness.
I think I mean, it was interesting to me because on the way to his parents' house, Noah's like kind of playing off like worst case scenarios in his head. Like, oh, there's been a gas leak, there's been a heart attack. And like what he sees seems so much worse than what he could
Much
have
worse.
ever imagined.
Yeah.
Which kind of adds to like the tragedy of this book. Like he, it's like not only has he lost his parents, they like are no longer resemble like what he once thought of them.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, it's terrifying, right? Like
Yeah.
I think that is one of my biggest fears, to have someone that I love who I no longer recognize. That like through their shifting ideologies, they've become someone totally different. And I just took that fear, which I have, and intensified it by a million.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I think that's terrifying, not only to think too of your family doing it, but also like yourself, like getting to a point where you may not recognize yourself anymore, or having
Mm.
someone else tell you like, hey, you don't seem like the same person that you once were.
Yeah. Um, I'm gonna skirt around getting like too personal, but like it is astounding how like I have family members who, you know, they'll send the emails and they'll be like, I just read this and I found it on this website that is like, you know, and it's like it's true. Like you can't do that. Like, and I'll be like, I can't read this article because it's unsourced and it's basically agitprop, and like it's, you know,
Yeah.
and 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 having friends of family speak to me and be like, I'm not friends with your family. Like, you know, like losing context. And because then it becomes like, I like, who were you? Like I, you know, yeah, it's so it's really sad. Um and I can't think of anything more scary than that, of like, you raised me, your family, I love you, but I don't know you anymore.
Yeah.
So yeah, and whether that's political, whether that's uh, wellness, whether that's, I mean, it's all politicized to whatever degree, but like, it is funny how like it is so nefarious and insidious that like, uh, it 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 could be with the best intentions. Like, um, my family member just wanted to feel better about themselves. Like they just genuinely wanted to feel good. And it started with a click on a link that they got on Facebook, and then that led to another article, which led to another article, and then it just shifted. It just went, and it wasn't overnight. Like it was so gradual that like I didn't do anything. I was just like kind of rolling my eyes or poking fun or making jokes, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, this is here. It's not going away.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like you lose track of it and how bad it's
Mhm.
gotten. I think the other part of the book that was very kind of tragic to me was Marcus.
No.
Really rooting for little Marcus to like make it out, and then
Yeah.
he doesn't. So, I mean, at what point did you decide like, hey, Marcus has to fall victim to being possessed too?
Um, it kind of the dovetail into a question you asked earlier that I didn't really answer well enough. Like when I pitched this book to Quirk, it was ultimately just going to be the middle section. Like I
Okay.
just wanted to focus on a family that descends into demonic possession individually, like they're trapped in this home, and we see them each kind of like succumb to possession, and then that would be the book. I had read several times Sarah Grant's Come Closer, which is a classic. Like that is a phenomenal horror book for anyone who hasn't read it. Like I just love that book. Um, and but it is so methodical in terms of like you're watching someone succumb to their possession. So I just wanted to do that times four. And it was like each person, like you see, Devin, you see Asher, you see Caleb, and you kind of see Marcus. And Marcus was going to be the kind of like emotional center. Like he was going to be the kind of like the heart of it, because he's not allowed screen time. Um, and uh, and then my editors were like, this is very suffocating. We need to see what's happening outside in the rest of the world. So that's when we started talking about part three, which led to then a conversation about part one, and it all kind of pieced itself together. Um, but Marcus to me is, I mean, like he's a kid, so there's like a level of innocence there for sure. Um, and I mean, how can you not read Incidents Around the House and like see this master author like craft a story about you, like innocence and youth and like that naivete, and I was just like, oh, I want to try it. Like I wasn't trying to do what Josh did, Mallargemon, but I wanted to like have like a version of that in mind. Um, I mean, it's so amazing how like all the books that I was just reading at the time, I was like, ooh, this is awesome. I want to do this. Josh was like, it was Daphne and Incidents Around the House, where
Cool.
like I loved how he did anxiety in Daphne, and like a lot of the Caleb stuff was kind of inspired by that. And then Marcus was inspired by Incidents Around the House.
I now that you said that, I could see that kind of like parallel, but
Yeah. I mean, like the confession here is I'm just stealing left and right. Like if I had not read The Return by Rachel Harrison, I would probably not have been able to write Ghost Eaters. Like if I hadn't, like it's like all of these books are a weird call and response for me, where it's like I'm just inspired by all of the stuff I'm reading, and
yeah.
it somehow inadvertently ends up getting absorbed into the book, which is why my next novel, Incidents Around the Bodega, will be coming out next year.
Very nice. We can't wait to read it.
5
by
stars.
by Clay McLeod Chapman.
Ooh. Oui,
He's like
oui.
Creole now. Malamon, Gimon, Devon, Joshua,
Speaking
and
of our
Dupré.
speaking of our fellow author friends, did you let them know some of the people that are referenced throughout the book, with slight name changes, that you were going to be borrowing their likeness somewhat?
No, I didn't. And like I I was like, oh, they're gonna find this cute. And a lot of them just haven't said anything, which makes me think they didn't read it. Like that's the litmus test. It's like, did you actually read my book? I don't think you did, because otherwise you would know you were name dropped at page 232. Um, but like uh I mean like they all had to blurb it. Like it's so funny when you like are begging for blurbs and like, you know, at that point, I yeah, it was I was just trying to be cheeky. I was like, oh my God, I need to have fun somewhere in this book. So let's like at least like, hey, you like that author? He's a friend.
It's a nice little Easter egg throughout. Like it's fun to pick up on and notice.
Yeah. Um, I was gonna do it once, never do it again. Rachel Harrison was the baby. There was like a whole thread of like a babysitter, and like her name was Rachel Harrison. And like there was like I was just gonna like and like that got cut. That got cut. So like I was like, oh, I have to like add like you know all of a sudden I was just like like insert here. Like I was mad libbing horror author friends as like left and right.
Rachel stays in or Ghost Sticks, which one?
Ghost sticks.
I do want to give everyone a chance to ask their questions too that are on, so feel free to unmute yourself and ask away.
Hi, Clay. I have a little question for you. Oh, so it sounds like, you started with part 2. What point did Anderson Cooper come into this? Like, how did you sort of arrive at Anderson? Because I mean that is amazing. So I'm just curious, like, at what point that evolved.
Oh, thank God you're on that side of the. It's so funny how people are like, ugh. I mean, I'm reading way too many Goodreads reviews, which is my own damn fault. But it is funny how like people are like, and then Anderson Cooper shows up. It's like, it's so funny. People, I get it. I get it. Okay, so your question. I at some point when I was like, oh shit, I have to write The Road. Or like it was like my publisher, it wasn't that they exerted pressure on me to write something that I didn't want to write, but they wanted the like that Last of Us, uh 28 days, like they wanted the narrative thread of, you know, the shit has hit the fan and now we have to survive. And like I was like, okay. And I was like, how do I tell that feels, if not new, a little bit of a slant, like a little bit of an angle on it, like different angle. And then I had this like epiphany, and this was like years ago. So this was like Twitter days, and like it was so silly. Like I did a little like one of those group think like tweets where it's just like, hey everybody on Twitter, like all my followers, like I'm curious, like has anyone ever done like a I was obsessed with first person shooter video games that like the I don't play video games. I don't like video games, but like I was fascinated by this idea of video games that root you, the player, in the point of view of the hero, the shoot, like we're this like we're just surviving, like Resident Evil or whatever. And I was like, has anyone ever written that? And um, Twitter said, go for it. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it. And I was like, well, what is that? How do you do that? And I was like, it would have to be second person, right? Because second person it casts you in the point of view of the first person shooter. So it's like you do this, you do that. And so I wrote it in this second person way. And I hate second person. Like I like reading second person is a chore. And I wrote 200 pages of second person. And I was like, oh my God, I have Like this is not going to be enjoyable. So it was like, okay, well, how do I rectify this? Second person feels as if it is reportage. Like there's a certain kind of level of like we are kind of telling you in real time what's happening. So it's like I could just like there was a moment where I just could imagine the kind of news reporter being like, and Noah's like racing through, like it's like, oh, we're watching live footage today, and like having it kind of feel active but also reported. And it was like, well, who could do that? Like, who could be the voice of reportage in this book? And I swear to you, the moment that like Anderson Cooper just like blipped in my brain, I was like, oh my God, this is it. This is the solution. And it was like, it has to be the coop. And and it was like, can I do this? Can I get away with this? Like, is this like am I gonna get sued? Um, and I think the kind of like the justification is it's not so much that it is Anderson Cooper as it is one man's projection of Anderson Cooper in their own fractured mind, So it's mirrors upon mirrors, but the relief that I felt when I was like, oh, it's got to be Anderson Cooper. Like that to me was a moment that clicked and frankly justified the third section because I I didn't necessarily set out to write the end of the world. Like I wanted to write the first 5 minutes of it. Because that's more interesting to me than when like we have to rebuild. Like society is like that stuff I feel like has been done and been done enough times that like I just wanted to like focus on the immediate collapse. So yeah, 20 more, like I didn't want 28 days later or 28 months later. I wanted like 28 minutes later. Like I just wanted the like boom, 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 boom.
That's awesome. I mean, I think it gave you so many opportunities for humor. Like I thought I was like worrying what was wrong with me because I was laughing a lot in section 3, and
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I don't want to be laughing, but I don't know.
Yeah.
There's this one moment where you're like, this just in, everything's fucked. I don't know. It's something like that. That and I laughed more at that than I have at most other books recently, like any other book recently. So I mean, it fits perfectly. Um,
I'm
um,
so glad to hear that because like I mean the humor it's tough because like I I've asked a lot of you, the reader, in this book. And like by 300, page 300, is it like now I'm gonna ask you to laugh? Like now I'm gonna ask you to like have a good time? And it's like, Jesus, that's awful. Like it's like, I mean, it's a choice. And I yeah, it is amazing how like who does that? Why does someone do that? And but like you I'm glad that you crossed the line with me.
yeah, I mean, I haven't felt this uncomfortable, and this is a compliment with a book, I think, since American Psycho, which was
Oh, jeez.
like,
Jesus.
and I know everyone has what things that kind of make them feel uncomfortable, but like this, in a very good way, like obviously an intentional way, like crawled into my brain, and it was the humor, I think, helped helped with
Yeah.
that. Even though it's getting, this is like the worst point of the book in section 3 in terms of what's going on, but you're laughing the hardest as well, and yeah. I let
Yeah.
other people talk, but I just wanted to say like that tonally, I feel like must have been very difficult. Or it feels like tonally that would be a very difficult thing to pull off, but you did walk that line. So thank you.
I really appreciate you saying that because there are days where I'm not so sure. And yeah, this book just feels like a big litmus test for endurance. So all across the board, everybody.
Well, I'll dive in.
Oh, good.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, this is just a comment talking about discomfort. I will say the day after I finished this book, I went into a Target the next day, and immediately I just kind of stood there and thought, okay, well, everybody in here is dressed the same, and you have all of these like, here's this, end cap about vitamins, and here's another one about doing, this thing for your health. And it was a very strange experience for me standing in there after just finishing this and thinking like I was still wearing your book like a coat. You know what I mean? It was very seeing it through the eyes of just finishing this novel and having my brain still in that space.
Oh,
Um,
geez.
it was kind of creepy, not gonna lie. Still kind of shaken off of a little bit, but it was just interesting to me how visceral that feeling was when I was in an environment like that, and just how everything just looked incredibly different to me at that point.
Yeah. I mean, taking it out of the context of the book and just talking about like the world in general, like I think nowadays when I go out into the world, I think like I had a certain kind of privilege of naivete for a long time where like I could just waltz into the world and feel like, okay, like, um, and I like that is no longer there. Like I feel like I'm pretty fortunate and privileged that I held on to it for as long as I did. But this idea that like, you know, what is a safe space and why is it that I can walk into a store and feel safe? Like, and that idea, it's, I live in Brooklyn and there was a election census that was done. And you can see the kind of blue and the red and the purple and like, and it is interesting to see block for block, neighborhood by neighborhood, who voted for who. And I tell you, like, I saw that and like, I was like, oh, I live in a place where my assumption had been A, but it turns out it's in fact B, particularly with this election, this last election. Like, it is the kind of blending of ideologies and the kind of merging of uh, politics. Like, it's not so binary. It's not so stark in contrast. It's not black and white, but it's that weird like um and like that was very sobering. So, I can't imagine having read this book and then going out like, yeah, that's thank you for still talking to me.
Yeah, so I'll dive back in. Yeah, so I was the one that I grew up you were who I messaged the other day because I am an alum of Powhatan High School.
Oh
So
my
when
God.
so when you cited that Noah's mom was a farmer from Powhatan, I was like,
Yeah.
no. And then because I grew up outside of Richmond, and
Oh
so
my
Chesterfield
God.
Town Center was, I used to go
Yep.
to, and everything else. So I'm like that, and then the local news channel in Richmond, and all the
Oh
I love
God.
the found footage style of all of it going on and how it all blocks it off. And it was, it uh, in my gosh, yeah. And then like just the whole thing of like this the YouTube video of like them walking around at Chesterfield Town Center, I was like,
Yeah.
I know exactly where this is in the mall and everything. It's yeah.
I know it's no longer there, but I mean, I know Chesterfield Town Center is still there, but my first job in high school was at the Dairy Queen in the food court. I would make blizzards all day, and that was like my like Chesterfield Town Center was like. I mean, I grew up there. I got arrested there for vandalism. Well, not arrested. Like, how do you get? Like, I got mall copped at.
Yeah. You got Paul blarted.
Yeah, like that. Like Chesterfield Town Center is my childhood.
Yes.
And so
Yeah. It's so cool. Yeah.
that's so funny.
And then it was funny with all of that. And then I'll go kind of personal a little bit with this is that in terms of like the subtle over time where things change from a loved one is so my dad was a punk kid in the 80s, had a punk band, and was directly called out by Jerry Falwell for spreading devil music in the 80s. And now is would have been succumbed to the Great Awakening nowadays. So life does kind of come at you fast. So I found that really interesting. And funny from a parent's perspective, and saw even in the chats with Lexi talking about the relatives or the similarities from the book and everything. And I'm sitting there
Yeah.
like, yep. So
Yeah. It is. I mean, it is just so amazing. Not amazing. It's just, I don't even know what the word is, but like just to kind of bear witness to a shift. Um, it just seems so when you can kind of attribute it to something external, you know. I mean, feelings change, opinions change. Like we're all like we I mean, I don't want to be the same person that I was like 5, 10, 20 years ago. But what concerns me is when it's like something external to you is kind of like influencing you and you're losing your sense of autonomy. Like your sense of identity is you're losing it and something else is coming in and insinuating itself to the extent that like you're saying the talking points, you're you know, like you just don't even sound like yourself. Like it's like those are the things that really freak me out, where it's like, am I talking to you or am I talking to, you know, a bullet point, like a bullet points of some newscast that you saw? Or yeah, terrifying, terrifying.
Can I like follow up on that? Like, because that's what I loved about this book was that it kind of made us all look inside ourselves and see like what influences us and how easily we can be swayed
Yeah.
if we allow it. And I just love that. Like, it doesn't matter what your opinions are. Either both sides have ways of, you know, making you think a specific way and thinking everybody's, you know, the other is the bad people, you know, and
Yeah.
they're not the good people, we're the good people, and there's always bad in every side. So and
Yeah.
that's what I really appreciated about your book, is I was just like, yeah, I mean, we can all be just awful, awful people. So it was
Yes.
just nice to, I loved that. And also, you know, I did love seeing my name in here too.
I mean,
It was my favorite thing in the whole book, but yeah. But I did. I loved how, you know, because we all can totally get sucked into things and think that it's that it's right and it's all real, and when we're just being suckered, just like
yeah.
everybody else.
I've clicked on links that I shouldn't have, that like spam everybody in my, like I've like it's so like, this is total sidebar. Like just yesterday on Facebook, Stephen King's uh reached out to me and I was like, "Oh my God, Stephen King's wants to talk to me." And it's like it's his picture and it's like he's like commenting on this thing and like for a millisecond. Like it was pretty quick. Like it was very obvious that it was not Mr. King. But like for the moment, like I saw it and I was like, you know, not even a full thought before I realized it wasn't him. But there was the moment of like, oh, just the like, ooh, and like that was it. And like that to me was like, how long before it's more than just a millisecond and it's like a minute, 5 minutes, an hour? Like, how long before I get deep faked or succumb to some dupe that like I'm just not, like I'm a little long in the tooth. Like I feel kind of like at a point where like I'm not tech savvy enough to notice like when AI was first on the scene and like everybody was like, oh, look at this amazing artwork I, you know, and I was like, wow, that's really cool. And then people were like, what are you talking about? That's AI. And I was like, what? Like it was like all of a sudden I was just like, oh my God. Like, and it was like I didn't like, and it became this like and it I'm just waiting for the moment where I'm old enough to not understand technology as it will be down the road. And my kids, God, you know, help them, they're going to be like, Dad, why did you do that? Like, why did you click on that link? Like, that's not your mom. That's like, it's like stuff, you know? And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, it's her. it's, it's gonna happen. It's going to happen because it's already happening to so many people, and I'm just scared of that. Yeah. But for a second there, Stephen King's was like, "Hey, Clay, I'm very interested in you."
I saw that and I really loved how everyone just immediately started bullying this like
Yeah.
spam account too.
Yeah.
Clay, thank you so much for joining us. I mean, I had a blast talking to you. I can't wait to talk again about What Kind of Mother. It's
Oh
been
my
great.
gosh. That one's gonna be. What are we gonna say?
Crabs.
I'm just gonna keep showing you that picture of me in the catacombs over and over again, and
God.
it's just gonna be that a
Ah.
montage of me holding this book in random places.
That was so
Slideshow
beautiful.
of the same picture.
Thank you for doing that. Thank you for taking me to Paris.